Hey Cooper, am I wearing the same shirt from last week?
Um, let's go back and check.
This is Producing Music Podcast with Mark Dollar and Cooper Anderson.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I had to make sure.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. You know, being in quarantine, sheltering in place, sometimes I forget.
It's all good. These things happen. These things happen.
All right.
I'm
well,
Go ahead.
well, we're going to sit here and talk about some New Music Friday. We've been going off the Spotify list. I use Spotify. All my friends use Spotify. Cooper uses Spotify. So they put up these awesome playlists, and this is our way of finding out some new music and putting it to good use. So, what do you got for me this week, Cooper?
So my favorite was the Griffin and I forget the other artist's name. Griffin and Noah something. Noah Kahan. So this one's Spotify exclusive. It's one of the Spotify singles. It was recorded at Electric Lady. I don't know if that was live or not. I know they do have like live sessions sometimes, but with quarantine happening, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Griffin's LA based, so who knows. But anyway, I really like this song. I'm not big on religion and whatnot, but this one definitely touched me, even though it definitely has a religious element. I really like the production. But the other thing I noticed, it's kind of the usual smorgasbord of pop music. A lot of hip hop, a couple country songs, some songs that sound like a mix of everything. What was the other one I liked? There was another one I saved. Oh, I didn't even see this one. Buju Banton and John Legend. I'll have to take another listen to that. There was another rock sounding one that I saved. Where was it? I can't find it. But anyway, the other thing I noticed was this '07 Britney. And the hook goes like, I'm acting like an '07 Britney. And my whole thing with that is, like we were talking about last week, streaming numbers are up, but it's all for catalog music, and new music consumption's going down. And I feel like songs like this, you're just kind of dating yourself. People now might know what happened to Britney in '07, but 50 years from now, are they going to remember? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're giving your song an automatic shelf life. So as a songwriter, I try not to put specific dates or times. I try to make it a little more universal so that it'll have more lasting power.
Well, you know what? I have something very similar to that. I had something kind of prepared for New Music Friday. Really quickly, side note, I heard that Christian song too. I thought it was pretty good. But right off the bat, the first few songs on the playlist is the Justin Bieber Ariana Grande song. And the first thing I thought, which is pretty much like what you're saying, is, could you be any more fucking boring?
Well,
Sitting here and writing about quarantine? Cooper, think about this for a second. We got two of the biggest artists in the fucking world just writing some bum-ass song about quarantine. It sucks. It's like no one wants to hear about quarantine. And there's also a few other songs in the playlist that also talks about quarantine. Way to date yourselves, guys. How fucking boring could you be? My mom's dog could write a better song about quarantine than Justin Bieber and fucking Ariana Grande.
Yeah, and the production on that wasn't anything spectacular. It was kind of like a throwback, like 60s, you know, shuffle ballad type thing.
It was boring. It's just boring.com.
Well, you know, I mean, Ariana has a special place in my heart because, you know, I worked with her when she was like 13. So she's a sweet person. I don't care what anybody says about her. You know, you'll never hear me say a bad thing about her or her family. But I do agree with you. Like, you know, that subject matter is like, okay, what's relatable right now? Like, let's write a song about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like you can imagine the conversation they had when it was probably like the lamest conversation in the world. It's like, hey, Justin, would you like to write a song about being in quarantine? Yeah, sure. That sounds great. That's like, come on. Like, everybody had that idea. There's like 90 artists on this fucking playlist that has songs about the quarantine.
It's been like that
cares?
For the last
Everybody's
month.
in quarantine. I think about it like this from a songwriter's perspective. If I'm trying to get my listener, I want to take them away from this time. Everybody's tired of this. Like, everybody's ready to go outside and like play in the rain, as it's raining right here in New Jersey right now, right outside my window. But, you know, it's like no one wants to sit here and talk about the quarantine. Like, come on, guys. Like, you know, I guess they probably know the shelf life that they've given this record, you know, and just talking about it because no one's going to want to listen to it. I'm sorry. It's just not cool. It'll be cool for like 1 week and then they'll come up with maybe another song that will, you know, hopefully be on next week's Music Friday playlist.
Yeah, and
I'm
I mean,
going to move on.
Other markets do that too. Like, that's very common in the Asian markets. Is the shelf life, in particular, like Japan, they have a super short shelf life for records. But I mean, this is America. We don't do things like them.
We don't do things like that over here.
They do things like us. God damn it.
So for me, you know, I just, you know, another boring thing. Hey, Kalani, can you be any more boring with your same, like, melody verse the entire time? It's like, how many times have we heard the melody that you're singing? A. How many times have we heard you sing the same melody? B. How many times are we going to hear you try to work the same idea over and over and over again? Do something different. I've heard you be so much more fresh. Stop it. I mean, there were some other good songs on there. Like, there was, you know, that St. Laurent, Nav. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But St. Laurent, that was a cool song. Has some cool energy. Three-Headed Goat with Lil Durk. There's new music by Haley Williams. I don't even know why Chris Brown is on this list still, but he has new music. Love the production on it. Don't know what I can say about him, but that's besides the point. Now, I will make a point, though, Cooper. I thought it was all boring. I just thought it was boring. I mean, there was some hope from last week, but I actually thought that the most bland song on the playlist was the coolest song this week. And I gotta give a shout because in the midst of all of this bullshit that we hear of Chris Brown and all these rappers and Justin Bieber talking about quarantine and shit no one cares about, you got this guy named Anson Seabra from, I guess he's from like Michigan because he's talking about Ann Arbor really hard. But he has a song called Somewhere in Ann Arbor. And I love his vocal characteristics. It's just the piano and the vocal mainly. And the way he sings on it, it just has tons of character that I personally remember more than hearing any other song on this playlist. I hope everybody goes to check it out. It's, again, Somewhere in Ann Arbor by Anson Seabra. I might be saying his name way wrong, but Good job, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I just I found out the song that I mentioned before that I forgot the name. It's called Friends Asterix by Moby Rich and Bishop Braggs. It was kind of like formulaic, like, you know, I've heard this before, but I don't know. It just, you know, it caught me. It was good production and seemed like a well put together record. But yeah, it was nothing like spectacular that really stood out. It's kind of like an AWOL Nation type vibe. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna check the Anson Sebro one out. I have a couple of those to check out too now. Lovely the Band is on there. Our friend Mitchie Collins, Lovely the Band.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Mitchie? He's from New Jersey too.
I met Mitchie one time. I think it was at some show or some party or something. You know, it's one of those late nights. You know, we always have late nights when it comes to this stuff, you know.
Yeah, man, he's doing his thing though. I'm like super proud of his success. You know, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm glad for him, man. Yeah, I just think, you know, really quickly going back to like lyrical content, it's like, you know, I'd rather hear a song about, and this could be as dated too, but write a song about making love to the Tiger King or something, you know?
That's what we're going to do right after this.
Yeah, like do something like that. Like, don't sit here and talk about the quarantine.
We'll get that Jaguar sound, that
I know everybody wants to write a relatable song. I haven't even watched it, but I
haven't watched it either.
Me neither. I don't want to. But write a song about that or something. Don't write about the quarantine. I mean, it's bringing stress to a lot of people. From my experience, everybody I know is starting to become a little unsettled. So moving ourselves away from the idea of writing songs about quarantine is okay in my book. That gets my vote. Let's talk about some music news this week, Cooper. So you've been doing some research about Warner Music. Tell me.
Not really like heavy research, but here, let me pull up the headline real quick here. Basically the Saudis, there it is. All right, let me just move our window around so we can see everything here. The Saudis are looking to make an investment in Warner Music Group. So what happened was they had Warner was going to have an IPO, but then it canceled due to economic downturn, and now the Saudis had made an offer before, but they turned it down. So now that the IPO is off the table, now they're trying to, you know, basically make another offer. So I don't know. I mean, the Saudis are basically like this giant investor because they have all this oil money. You know, there's like all kinds of companies. Like they just bought a big stake in Live Nation, but they just did that by just going on the stock market and buying the stock. You know, there wasn't any like backdoor deals or anything. They literally just logged onto their broker and bought it, or, you know, whatever they do. But you know, they've also had investments in WeWork, major investments through the SoftBank was like the major investor in WeWork. They had the Vision Fund, and then the Saudis were like the big investor in there. But basically, so the Saudis are like this government state, but it's a monarchy. So it's basically, you know, a few people or one person, the crown prince, is like in charge of, you know, the whole country as an entity. And the way that is different from us as Americans is we have the democracy, so we have elected officials to kind of guide that, and generally our elected officials like to lower taxes and kind of give it free rein. So we don't have quite as much funds to be investing in stuff like that as a government entity. And then the other side of that is the Saudis' money comes from the oil, And, oil is not going to be around forever. I mean, it's still a major thing. It's going to be a major thing for a long time, but eventually we're going to switch to like electric vehicles and whatnot. And I think that's one of the things the Crown Prince is trying to do, is move their country forward technologically with their investments, so that when the oil dries up, then they won't go broke.
Good old MBS. When I heard about him and the Saudis and investing in the WWE, I just thought, man, I don't know what these guys are trying to do, but I enjoy it. I mean, culture is everything, and it's good that we at least have, some countries out there that love what we do as an American people, and or at least trying to help us preserve our arts and our entertainers. Maybe they can help create more money going out to artists, and maybe they can help to give more back to the artists. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, a lot of other governments do that. Like Sweden is a big one. They have a very big state-sponsored music school program, and that's why there's so many huge Swedish stars for the size of their market. Like, Max Martin is huge, obviously, and you got Tove Lo, ABBA. There's so many huge stars out of Sweden, but their market is not very big, and that's a lot because the government puts the kids in schools. There's actually a New York apartment that the Swedish government rents, where if you went to the state music school in Sweden, you can stay at this place for free to network. I think they probably have one in LA too. But Canada is also big on that state-sponsored music stuff. It's not as much investment as the Swedes, but it's a much bigger country too, so it's still a sizable investment.
Well, we know we got some amazing artists coming out of Canada, so
yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the music community out in Canada is one of those communities that's so tight-knit because they get over all the humps of the pitfalls of the music career and stuff like that.
Plus, it's so cold up there. You're gonna just stay inside and go to the studio most of the year instead of like get distracted with all the outdoor attractions.
You don't want to get any Putin, bro? Get any Putin? Am I even saying that right? I don't know. Well, anyway, Cooper, I gotta say something. I feel bad because, I'm doing all this cursing and stuff. And then, my mom actually told me that she listened to this podcast the other week. And I was like, oh, man, I probably was throwing F-bombs and this, that, and the other. Oddly enough, she didn't say anything about it. I just want to say, Mom, I'm sorry. This is a passionate podcast. And I'm going to say some things that hopefully cause some hefty riffs in our industry. But with that being said, Mom's Day is coming up. I like to think about moms and music, and I don't know about you, Coop, but my mom has deeply inspired me to be the man that I am today musically and such. I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite memory of your mom musically? If there is any like song or if any musical event or just something that she really liked, what would
absolutely
that be?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. My mom, well, both my parents aren't like, they weren't professional musicians or anything, but they're very like, they would sing songs when we were growing up and whatnot, and they would take me and my brother to concerts and whatnot in high school and that sort of thing. But my mom has been like super supportive of my music career over the years, and I really can't thank her enough for that.
Yeah. I remember my mom singing in church. I'm one of those church boys. Church Boys. I should say it like that. Churchboy.com. and where
I don't know if you want to get that URL.
Yeah, I should get that one right away.
Yeah.
But my mom used to sing in church, and I remember growing up, while learning how to play and all that stuff, my mom was in this little gospel singing group named Joy. And, just seeing her, really put herself forward for it and practice, she really did her thing. I loved seeing it. It was great, a great inspiration. Now, she don't do much singing nowadays. I don't know if she still sings for church stuff, definitely all the quarantine stuff. But, she probably wouldn't even realize it, but she actually was a great inspiration for me. So, happy Mom's Day to all the mom musicians and producers out there. I know a few of them. You guys are great, and damn, you sure kicking some of these guys that, are engineering. You're sure kicking their butts. So I would love that you keep doing so.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Because I think by the time people see this, it'll probably be Mother's Day. All right. So we got some questions in, we just decided to take a few questions from some people that watch the podcast that know us really well. And, some of these people have, some cool questions. And I got a question from my buddy Chris in Tacoma, Washington. He asked Cooper, what do you prefer? He says something else in here that I don't think I should say on here. But what do you prefer the most for vocal correction? Auto-Tune or Melodyne? I mean, if the two apps were lovers, which one would be the better lover?
I don't know if I can compare it on those terms. It's not really the way I think about it.
I would think, I'm going to indulge Chris a little bit. I think of Melodyne like this grown woman, like do her own thing, independent, smooth, But then I think of Auto-Tune, something like maybe that, like, I don't know, that hot young girl that everybody wants to try to date. I don't know. What do you think?
I guess if we're talking about it like that, so Auto-Tune would be the regular, and then Melodyne's like the one on the side that you call up when you break up with Auto-Tune and it's not working right then.
No, you know what?
Basically,
I'm a lawyer.
No, let me tell you. Let me explain it a little more. Because like that's the way I use it. Like so, Auto-Tune I'm using on almost every mix. That's like my main thing is just use Auto-Tune. And when I'm producing, I try to get my singers to like sing close enough where Auto-Tune will be perfectly fine for vocal correction. You won't need anything crazy. Like sing the song. When Melodyne comes in, it's like if you have a singer who's like so far out that Auto-Tune is like doesn't know what to do and it's throwing you the wrong notes, then you have to go in with Melodyne and like really fine tune it. But if it's just like one or two notes and most of the rest of the stuff is good, what I'm going to do is go in and with Audio Suite, I'll use Auto-Tune and just fix that one word. And I'll just on Auto-Tune, you can like select on the keyboard which notes are in or out. So I'll just take all the notes above and below the note that I want out and just have that one note, and then I'll Audio Suite and print that but I'll still have my Auto-Tune plugin on the track, but then what's feeding into Auto-Tune will be on the correct note already instead of the incorrect note, so it'll tune to the right place basically.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually been revisiting my vocal tracking and production workflow, and I caught some videos from a good friend of mine. His name is Jordan Valerio, He does this course named Hardcore Tracking, Hardcore Editing. And with this particular, his particular ways, he actually likes to use auto-tune and graphical mode, which I've never actually used before. I've always been, now see, Chris, I have to say, I'm a loyal man. I'm not like Cooper, you know what I'm saying? I stayed loyal to the Melodyne throughout the years. I'm a loyal guy. But with that being said, you know, I am one of those guys that likes using Melodyne in standalone mode. I don't ever like integrate it into the session.
I'm the same way. I only use it in standalone mode.
Yeah, and there's reasons for it because I don't like, you know, real-time rendering with that type of stuff. I just, you know, vocals are so, you know, they could get so artifacty very fast. And I'm not a big guy to create artifacts and vocals. That's just not my thing. As soon as I hear artifact, I stop what I'm doing and I try something else. But I'm very interested in trying this auto-tune graphical mode just because I feel like it will bring to me the best of both worlds, and where, you know, if I get like a trap client or something like that, just needs auto-tune real quick, boom, I got it. But if I also need to do the vocal correction, I'll also lean on that a little too.
All right, so Notice Yo-Yo says, can you say Bocina a Sorrenta? In my country, it's like Lucky Charm.
But wait, hold on. We gotta rewind. So, first of all, what's the young gentleman or person's name again?
Notice Yo-Yo.
Notice Yo-Yo. Wow, that is an amazing
Shout out to
name.
Notice Yo-Yo.
Notice Yo-Yo. What does that mean again?
I don't know.
Okay, we gotta. Hey, Notice Yo-Yo. Get back to me. I'll give you like something, you know, as a token of my appreciation. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. But I want to find out what your name means. But what's his question or her question? I'm not sure.
They just said, can you say Bocina a Sorretta? In my country, it's like Lucky Charm.
Bocina a Sorretta.
Whoa, where'd you go, buddy? Oh, there you are.
I'm back. My phone was letting me know something.
All right.
But Bocina a Sorretta.
Yep.
Did I think I said it right? You can let me know in the comments if I did anything appropriate there. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Any more questions?
Well, I just had a question for you. You know, we were discussing etiquette in the music industry. So I wanted to ask you how you deal with etiquette in like situations, because this happens all the time, where you have a situation where, say you meet someone through some people. So let's just use the example of a record executive. So okay. Let's just call them Lucian Grange, you know, the head of Universal, for instance, for example. So say I meet Lucian Grange through you.
Okay.
I've only met him through you. Didn't even know who he was before. Whatever. Is it good etiquette if I then like go directly to Lucian Grange if I need a favor? Or would it be better etiquette to at least tell you that I was going to do that before, or, you know, to get your input? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because
I totally get you.
Yeah. So, you know, before I let you talk about it, I'm going to take your whole answer. But basically, my opinion of it is, if I introduce you to someone, so say it was the other way around, like, that person knows you through me. So if that person then goes around me, that reflects poorly on both of us, I think.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, I'll let you take it.
Okay. So I mean, for me, it's like, there's rules to all of this in terms of networking, in terms of getting, ahead. And, some people like to break these rules. And I think in wrestling, they like to call it going into business for yourself. But, wrestling limbo. But with that being said, yeah, there is etiquette, people. And where if someone introduces you to like a producer, and where this is somebody of value, mind you, we're not just talking about I just met your friend Anthony from around the corner who doesn't do music or anything around the corner, and I'm pretty sure Anthony's cool. He probably is a cool guy to hang out with, but there's no value there. We're talking about Lucian Grange, if as a hypothetical
business relationships,
and where there's value here, and where there's something that at the end of the day, if you work on that relationship enough, you may have access to that particular said value, whatever that is. Now, yeah, there is etiquette into where you cannot, as that person that is being introduced to the person of value, just overstep your connection and then just be like, all right, well, I'm going to bring my my project or whatever I'm bringing to the Lucian Grange. There's a few reasons for it. Because, one, Lucian doesn't know you. He doesn't know you at all. He has a relationship with your friend, not with you. So what happens is, if you come all out of whack to Lucian Grange, he doesn't know you. feeling offended. Little Cooper's daughter guest starring on the podcast.
Yep.
Yes, I got a top in my nose.
Oh, I see.
Yes, top is my nose. Do you know about power? But if you touch it, it got a storm, and then it will get a tire, and it'll get my puppy in a storm too.
No, we don't want that to happen.
No, but I got touched it, and it didn't know, but I didn't. A storm didn't pull me in, but then it's pull you. So touch it and see what happens.
Okay.
Oh no, there's a storm.
Oh no.
Boy,
All right, Julie, I'm on a podcast. I gotta get going.
No, I need my M&M's.
Oh, you need your M&Ms? Go talk to Mommy.
No, she's doing exercise.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll be done in a few minutes.
No.
Okay. All right, sorry, what were you saying?
Basically, I was just saying that, if Lucian doesn't know you and you're coming all out of whack to Lucian, man, your daughter is so adorable. But if you're coming all out of whack to Lucian, then Lucian's going to look at your friend and say, hey, man, what's going on here? This is an issue. And that might damage your friend's relationship to Lucian. So the fact of the matter is, it's just kind of a cardinal sin in terms of our business. Some people don't understand that. So we hope that we're giving you guys a little bit of etiquette today. And if you have any questions or anything in regards to etiquette that we may be able to answer, if you have any particular situations that you feel like you need some advice in, please feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would add on that too, it doesn't mean in perpetuity that you could never talk to that person without the one who introduced you. It just means like, and it doesn't mean you couldn't even contact them. I'm just saying you at least have to keep the person who introduced you in the loop before reaching out to that person directly, unless it was specifically otherwise set up in that way where it was like, oh, this is so-and-so, they're going to talk to you about this, and then everybody knows what's happening. But if you just come out of nowhere, it's like you're going around people's backs basically, and nobody likes that and the recipient of that can see right through it too.
Exactly. Yeah, you just wind up hurting yourself and your chances in the music industry just because people will trust you less.
Yeah.
So always just think about how you approach your business relationships. You know, it's also not a bad idea to talk to your friend about approaching that relationship. Again, it's just because, you know, we're talking etiquette like this here doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do it. It just means that you should at least do your friend the solid because he's the one that brought you the contact.
Absolutely.
So think about it from that perspective and maybe how you can help your friend as well. Maybe you got the right idea to bridge those two people together. Maybe they've been kind of surfing around trying to figure out the right thing, and then you have the right idea, and you could bring the idea to the both of them, and then all three of you can win.
Yep.
You know?
That's the idea, to help people out, not, you know, use people for their connects, basically.
Exactly. Don't steal connections.com, guys. All right, Cooper, we got to get on out of here. Your daughter is looking for her daddy.
She's looking for her M&Ms.
And with that being said, I think my phone is going to go kerplunk in a second. So let's just feed these people the tags. Where can we be reached? How can we be accessed?
ProducingMusicPodcast.com is our homepage.
Yes.
And you can email me at cooper@producingmusicpodcast.com. I didn't set Mark up an email yet. But
yeah, I don't have an email.
If you want to reach him, hit me and I'll forward it his way.
Or you could just hit me at godriveraudio.com and or godriveraudio@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
And we could have all fun with that. But definitely hit us up for any questions if you have any. We're looking to share our infinite, beautiful.
Absolutely. Shout out again to Notice Yo-Yo for tuning in. Appreciate all of our viewers. And yeah, we'll be back next week.
All right, guys.
All right.